In 2019, at Stanford University, psychology professor Bernard Roth conducted an experiment with 200 students. The experiment was simple. He asked them one straightforward question. Describe your ideal day 5 years from now. What are you doing? Where are you living? How much are you earning? The students wrote that some wanted to launch their own startup, others wanted to travel the world, and some wanted to achieve complete financial freedom. But then Bernard asked a second question. What did you do yesterday to move toward that life? And that's the point. 97% of the participants couldn't name a single specific action. Just think about that. And this is what Bernard realized. 95% of people do not control their own lives. On the contrary, someone else pulls the strings like a puppeteer. Parents choose their university. Society chooses a normal career. Their environment sets the income standard that $50,000 is enough. So let's be honest. You're not playing your own life. You're playing a role in someone else's play, doing what benefits others. But there is a way to change that. There is a system used by successful people, from Elon Musk to the creator of Ferrari. I learned it from biographies, research, and applied it in my own life. And now I want to share it with you. In this video, you'll learn how to understand what game you're really playing, why your goals don't work, and how to rewrite them so they become real. You'll also get a clear A to B system that helped me earn my first serious money. Let's start with the basics. Why do you want so much, do so much, yet get no results? Why aren't you controlling your life? I studied this for over a year, spoke with hundreds of people, and found 2 reasons that hold back 99% of us. Reason 1, you have unresolved questions about yourself and the world. Yes, it sounds philosophical, but it's real. Think about the questions you ask yourself. Why do I even live? What's the point of all this? Why is the world so unfair? You can live with these questions, and many people do. But here's the important thing. While you're philosophizing, you're not acting. You're simply reacting to reality. To be effective, your mind must have absolute focus on what you're doing and who you are. Every moment you shift your attention from one mental distraction to another, you lose time you could have used to achieve results. David Goggins talks about this powerfully in his book Can't Hurt Me. During the hardest periods of his life, Hell Week in Navy SEAL training, or running his first 100-kilometer ultramarathon, one question kept appearing in his head. Why? If you don't have an answer to that question, you will most likely quit. Reason 2, you don't know your character. Here's a simple test. Answer honestly. What are you truly good at? Where are your strengths? As ridiculous as it sounds, the majority of people can't answer that. They don't know themselves. If you do know your strengths, go deeper. What are your weaknesses? What drains your energy? Where do you constantly sabotage yourself? Very few people ever seriously reflect on this, and that's the root of most problems. The richest and most influential people understand themselves extremely well. That's the source of their power, popularity, and wealth. For example, they may know they're strong in negotiations but weak in operations, so they build their companies and careers around that truth. They don't adapt themselves to the world, they adapt the world to themselves. They maximize their strengths and compensate for weaknesses. Most people do the opposite. An introvert tries to become an extrovert. A visual thinker forces themselves to work only with text. A strategist tries to handle daily operations. I studied biographies of 50 of the richest people on the planet and found a pattern. Each of them has unbreakable principles rooted in their personality. Take Enzo Ferrari. In the 1960s, he built the fastest cars in the world, but he had an iron rule. Once a car left the factory, it was perfect. No modifications, no tuning, no changes. Even if the buyer was a billionaire who wanted a different color. Once a famous Hollywood actor bought a Ferrari and modified it. Enzo found out and blacklisted him. he was never allowed to buy another Ferrari again. For some, that sounds insane, rejecting profit for the sake of principles. But that's exactly what created the Ferrari brand. Today, Ferrari is one of the most valuable brands in the world. People wait years just for the right to buy one. Or take Donald Trump. Before becoming president, he spent 40 years building a real estate empire. His principle was simple: create the biggest, most luxurious, most prestigious properties. For example, Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. While others built standard buildings, he invested millions in marble, gold, and design. Competitors called him crazy, too expensive, it won't pay off. But he understood his audience, people who want the best and are willing to pay for it. The result: apartments sold for tens of millions of dollars. Now look at ordinary people. They either have no principles or don't realize them. One day they say, "I only work with top clients." The next day they accept anyone who pays. Chaos follows. Clients don't know what to expect. Teams don't know what to prepare for. They themselves don't know who they are. Here's the secret. If you clearly know your principles, stability forms around you. People understand you, they trust you, they know what to expect. In a constantly changing world, principles are an anchor. On that foundation, building a company, brand, reputation, or career becomes far easier. Your life is not chaos, it's a game. And like any game, it has a character, rules, and controls. The problem: you're playing blindly. Imagine launching Dota 2. You immediately understand your goal: destroy the enemy's throne. You see your hero's attributes: strength, agility, intelligence. You know the rules. You adapt your strategy to your character. Life is the same. You are the character, you have attributes: temperament, mindset, skills, health. You also have two control levers. One, your body, what you eat, drink, how you train, how much you sleep. Two, your mind, your willpower, the information you consume, what you focus on, who you talk to. That's it, two levers. In 1966, psychologist Julian Rotter introduced the concept of locus of control. Some people have an external locus. Everything depends on luck, the economy, other people. Others have an internal locus. My decisions determine my life. Over 20 years, Rotter found that people with an internal locus of control earned 3 times more on average, were healthier and happier. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. In the 1960s, he was a 15-year-old boy from an Austrian village. No money, no connections. Then he saw bodybuilder Reg Park on TV and decided, that's my game. He trained 6 hours a day, followed strict diets, learned English, studied business, took acting lessons despite his accent. At 20, he became a world champion bodybuilder. At 30, a millionaire through real estate. At 35, a Hollywood star. At 56, governor of California. Not luck, 40 years of consciously using 2 levers. Most people don't control their body. They eat randomly, sleep randomly, skip exercise. They don't control their mind, scrolling social media 4 hours a day, consuming negative news, surrounding themselves with people who diminish them. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Now here's the key question. What game are you playing? Money, power, stability, attention, business. If you choose business, stop thinking like an employee, accept instability, accept risk, accept criticism. If you choose stability, embrace that game fully. Don't torture yourself trying to become an entrepreneur just because it's trendy. The real question is, what price are you truly willing to pay? In 2018, Harvard Business Review surveyed 10,000 entrepreneurs. 89% said they were ready to sacrifice everything for success. But when asked, will you work 80 hours a week for 3 years? Right arrow, 34% remained. Will you invest all your savings and go into debt? Right arrow, 12%. Will you sacrifice your personal life for 5 years? Right arrow 4%. See the difference? Competition doesn't exist at the level people imagine. In reality, only 4% compete. So here's your formula. Write down your real values, not the correct ones, the honest ones. List your strengths and weaknesses. Identify which game you can play based on your traits. Identify which game you want to play based on your values. Find the intersection. That intersection is your game. If there's none, you either develop new skills or reduce your ambitions. Use this formula, change your life.